Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to be doing something really nice. I'm a developer. I'm not really someone that is new to this game, but I just wanted to figure out, if you didn't have any experience with coding, how much can you push this current vibe coding trend to get your app published on the iOS store in one day. Now the goal is pretty simple. We want to be able to build a complete iOS app from scratch, create the supporting website that we need, and actually submit it to the store, all in one streamlined session. Now, for us to start, the first thing we would need is to go through like a checklist of what you would need to be able to follow this tutorial. You need an Apple ID, and if you don't, you would have to create one. And you also need to figure out what the name of your app should be. What do you want to build? I'm going to keep it simple. For me, I'm going to be building an app called Quit Anything. It's a trend among people vibe coding apps now to be able to quit stuff. Then, of course, you would need a credit card because you need to get an Apple developer account, and that's not free. And you need access to like an LLM, like a ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, whatever you have. You would also need a GitHub account. This is completely free, and I would show you how to create one. And you would need access to Vessel. Again, a completely free account. And you need a valid email address. And one of the most important things is you need access to Cursor IDE. That's like $20 a month. The two things you would actually have to pay for, it's the Apple Developer Program membership, which is like $99 a year, and the Cursor IDE, which is like $20. That's all you would have to spend. Now, if you don't already have an Apple developer account, you should create one. It's pretty straightforward. You click the create button and enter all the information. Once you have that, you should be prompted, if you did that through the developer website, which is developer.apple.com, to start your process of becoming a developer, which would require you paying $99. I'm not going to go through that process, but it's pretty straightforward. If you've used the computer before, you should be able to do this yourself. The first thing we're going to be doing now is clicking on identifiers, and we're going to create a new identifier. Now we just have to make sure we have identifier selected here, and click this plus button. Now what this allows you to do is create an identifier that we'll be using later. So just make sure you have app ID selected, click on continue, click on app, click on continue. Now we can enter the description of what app we want to make. So we have a Quit Anything app, and we can enter a bundle ID. Now, basically, a bundle ID, the industry standard is basically to use like a reverse of your URL, right? And you don't have to select anything here. You can leave that default the way it is right now, and you can click on continue. And yeah, you get one last look at everything and click on register. Now that we have that, we need to go to the next website, which is, you can open a new tab and go to this. It's basically appstoreconnect.apple.com, and you click on that. And you have this access to this. Now, the very first thing you have to do once you're here is actually go to the business section. Again, I'm not going to show you this, but it's pretty straightforward. It's something a lot of people miss, and they have issues with their app store not being able to like register subscriptions or try out their subscriptions. It's because you haven't completed the business section of the app store. Apple doesn't really prompt you to do this, but your account is basically useless if you don't do this. You can enter the name of your app. If you have a company, enter those details and enter the account information that you want to receive money from. If you get paid, for example, from your subscriptions. The next thing you have to do is click on apps, and then you create a new app. Now I can click on this plus button here, and then you select new app. Now here you can select iOS, for example, and then you can name it whatever you want. So, and we have that available. Now that we have this loaded, we're going to be going to the next step. This one is pretty straightforward, but I think the first thing we need to do is just fill out a description. Now, if you're going to be using Grok or ChatGPT, you can go there. One thing I recommend is you create a new project. If you create a new project, it makes things easier for you to like ask for stuff. Like for example, in the instructions, you can enter whatever information about your app, and it just makes things easier. I think this is it. And I could basically just come here and say something like, please write a long ASO description. I mean, App Store optimization description for my Quit Anything Now app. Please only use normal characters, no emojis. This is because LLMs usually use emojis a lot, and you don't, Apple doesn't accept them. So I don't need to write anything extra about it, and it's just going to give me some description I can use. And, oh, there's something I actually forgot, and it's really important to have in your description because you're going to be having subscriptions, and your app is probably going to be locked, and you're going to need a privacy policy to have that on your description and terms and conditions. So basically what I would tell Grok to do is add those. I have this now, and there's like a placeholder for the URLs right now, but I'm going to copy this and go to the App Store and paste it in my description. It's too much. Let's take this out for now. Now for your app to be published, you need some information like the privacy policy, the terms and conditions that we just talked about here, and you also need a contact information. If you scroll down, you can see there's like a contact information here. Oh, by the way, you can also add keywords. I think we should do that. So let's ask Grok to give us some keywords. Give us some keywords for the app. It should be able to provide us with that, and let's add those. Discovery, big habits. Oh, let's remove this. No. And this should be enough. Now, you don't have to fill in any of the information here. And now we're going to be actually doing some vibe coding. Now, what I'll be doing next is, again, if you don't already have it, you should visit cursor.com and you should download it for whatever platform you're on. And you can click on open new project, and I'm just going to go to my desktop and I create a new one. So it's Quit Anything Now. I'm just going to be using this as a base for everything, and I'll have one called website, which is going to be our website. And I select what we have to do is start coding the website. I wouldn't recommend you use this for now because it's an expensive model and you can run out of it pretty easily. And for the website, it's pretty straightforward, and we can just go auto. And now we can paste the prompt here. Click this. While it's running, I'm going to pause the recording and come back once it's done. Now we're done, and we have this files here. And what I can do is I can right click on one of them, reveal in Finder, and I can open this in whatever browser. You can open with whatever browser you have installed. And I'm just going to double click this. And now I have this. It has call to action buttons and don't really do anything right now, but they also have the contact and privacy, which is basically what I'm interested in. Now, this is nice, but now we want to host it for free. Let's go to github.com. I already have an account logged in here. Basically sign up if you don't already have one, and it's pretty straightforward for you to sign up. Once you're in, click on new, and you should be able to have a repository here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this Quit Anything Now. Important, you have to make sure this is private, and that's it. I can just click on create, and I would have my repository. Now what I can do is actually copy this and make sure I have this saved somewhere, because this is important, right? But you don't have to do anything here. Click on the profile icon you have here and go to settings. Now here you have to scroll down and go to developer settings. Click on personal access tokens and tokens classic. Now you can click on generate token and generate new tokens classic. You can name this anything. So let's say quit anything cursor access. Now, if you know what you're doing here, you can follow the industry standards for what you should be doing with tokens. But I want this as easy as possible for anyone to follow. So I'm going to do no expiration and I'm going to give access to everything. I'm going to click on generate token. And now I have this token. So this is all you need. Now, the next thing we'll have to do is we have to make use of this token and this URL and cursor. So now I'm going to go back to cursor and I'm going to open a new chat. So I click on this plus button and then I have this new chat. Now for this one, you have to use Claude. I've tried it with the auto model and it doesn't really get this correctly the first time. Now for this, I already have a template here that I will copy for the prompt and you can do exactly the same. I'm going to copy this here and I'm going to paste it here and I'm going to replace this with my information basically. So I'm going to go back to the browser and I'm going to copy this repo URL and I'm going to replace it with this. Right, and then I'm going to go and copy the token also. And I'm going to paste that here. I have no idea if I have Git installed, so I handle these two. So yes, the repo, yes, my email address. You have to use your email for your repository, and that's it. And then I just click send. Now, while this works, I'm going to pause this video and come back once it's done. But maybe I should actually hold on to show you some extra things that needs to happen. So you're going to be constantly prompted with these and you just have to agree with it. So I'm going to click on this. It's going to check if you have Git installed, and if not, it's going to install it for you. So you should allow that. It's going to set my URL, my global email address on Git. Again, you should allow it once this happens. Now this just completed and I'm going to scroll up to show you what I had to do. So of course it set my email, it set my name, it did an init, and each one of these steps I had to click run. Again, you cannot always auto accept this, but it's safer if you don't. Then it added the files and it committed it and it pushed it. And it just gave me a summary of what happened. While this goes on, sometimes you might get a prompt on screen that tells you to select what Git account you want to use. It's an easy pop-up and you can just select the one you just created and it should continue. So again, now we can return back to GitHub. We can go back to this tab that had this, and if I click on refresh here, if everything worked correctly, we should have our files here. Next thing you have to do is actually deploy this for free. And to do that, we need to go to a website called vercel.com. Pretty straightforward, and you can create an account, and it's pretty straightforward. Also, I would recommend you saying something like that, entering your information, and just going on. And it's completely free. I already have one, so I'm going to be logging in. Ideally, I would want you to also use the GitHub account you created, and that makes things a lot easier for you. So I'm going to click on this and of course authenticate with that, and you're going to go through exactly the same process if you use that also. Now ideally, if you already have if you've never used this before, you should be seeing this by default once you load in, and then it gives you a way to authenticate GitHub, so it gets access to all your GitHub account, all your GitHub repositories basically. For me, I'm going to be using this one, this quit anything now, which is the repository we just created. you can see quit anything now. And if you give access to it, you would have access to this now. And I just click on import and it shows this page, and I can click on deploy. You don't need to change any settings here. So now we have our website hosted for free. You can click on continue to dashboard. And now you have this domain here. If you click on this, it's basically a website anyone can visit, and you have access to, like, anyone can visit it, and it's completely free. And you have the content page, the privacy, and the terms. So you have a free hosted website that you can use for whatever you want to use it for. So now that we have this, we need the content page, we need the privacy, and we need the terms. You can return back to the App Store Connect, and then the support URL. We can use the contact us page. So we copy this and we come here and we paste that here. We have a privacy policy here, and we copy this, and we no longer need that, and we don't need this. That is. So privacy policy here, and terms and conditions here, and you can save this. And the next thing we have to do is we go to app information, and we need to select a category. So we would say, I don't know, lifestyle, and we can say something like what fits. I would say education, right? And we can save this, really important. And now you can click on this setup content rights information, and of course we're not doing any of that now, so we can click that, and that's it. You can save this again, and then for age rating, it's pretty straightforward. You can click on setup, and it's gonna be no for a lot of this, so I'm gonna do that now. But you can go through the questions and actually read them, but for most apps it's actually no. But again, it has to be related to what kind of app you're basically building. So now I click on save, and we should have that set. And scrolling down, I don't think there's anything left there. Oh, the subtitle. I can return back to Grok, and I tell it, give me a short subtitle. And I can just copy this and return and paste it here. It's too long. And I can leave this and click save. I think I have this all filled out, and then we have to go to app privacy, and here it asks for a privacy policy, and we can go back here and copy this. We go back and paste it here, and we can save that. And then you can click on get started, and ideally you don't want to have any, for your first submitted app, you don't want to have any third-party SDKs or anything, so this should be no. And that should be it. And we click on the publish button, and that's it. Create me. So what this does is allows Grok to give me an outline of what I should focus on and what features my app should actually have. And I think this is really important because a lot of times you don't know, like there are two ways you can go about this. You can try to look at another app and see what features they have and replicate it step by step, or you can go this route to actually think through it with Grok or whatever LLM you're using. Now for this one, I can see, we need to have an onboarding, really important, progress tracking, motivational support, query management, and okay, resources, education. This seems really complex, but I'm gonna pick in a few of it. So I'm going to be picking the user onboarding. We don't need sign up or anything, but it's basically just an onboarding that asks you questions on what you're trying to quit and why. I think it's really important because it puts the users in the perspective of here, they want to use this app. That's also important when you come to subscription apps. You want to be convinced to subscribe because we're going to have a hard lock after the onboarding. Now we need progress tracking, basically, which means the user would have to come and check in every day to see if they're on track. That also means that we need to have notifications. So we can actually write this all down. So we decide what we're going to do. So I took some time to actually write out based on what I got from Grok. And this is something you can also refine with your LLM for whatever thing you want to build. I asked and I got some steps. And now I have a direction of what I want the app to have. So I want an onboarding that has like 6 questions, which would like a mix of questions and commitments the user has to have. It also integrates with permissions the user has to give, and also a paywall. And then on the home screen, you see the number of days you've been free from your addiction, some random motivational text, and then a way to listen to why you made this, why you want to make this change. And then you can have some like guide, some links to other places where you could actually, that helps the user for this addiction. Now, this seems pretty straightforward, and this is the guide we're going to be using for building it. But the way I like to vibe code is I do it step by step. So every single step should be accomplished before moving to the next step. If you don't do it that way, the LLMs get really, really overwhelmed and they don't actually do a good job. But now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and start vibe coding. I'm going to create a new project. It should be an app, and I can call it quit anything. Now I'm going to make sure it's Swift. Basically leave everything default, and then I'm going to go next, and I'm going to find a folder I can easily remember it from. So let's go to the quit anything folder that I have in my root, and I'm going to make sure create git repository is set, and I click on create. So this is going to get a default iOS project. Now what I do after this is I go to cursor and I click on open, and I try to find that app I just created, the default Xcode app I just created, and I'm going to click open it. So now I have everything needed to make an app. It has the base project, and we can just go ahead and start prompting this. So if I go back here, I can say, the first thing I need is onboarding steps for my app. And I can basically just give it this. This is, since we want to divide this based on complexity, I'm going to do these first. So I'm going to copy this, and I tell Claude for so now we're back, and we can go through what it actually did. It created a team, onboarding models, views, coordinators, the main Swift app, and give it an overview when it actually tried to build it, which it succeeded in doing. So we're just gonna have to check it out. Now, if we come back here, we can actually choose a simulator to run this in. So now we have this running. All I did was I came here, I selected a simulator, and I clicked play. And now we have this running in a simulator. Now we can see it's pretty straightforward. I click on get started, and it says, oh yeah, what do you want to quit? It gives options. I can say smoking. I can continue, and it says, why do you want to quit this? I can say health concerns, and I can actually select multiple. Seems pretty modern to me. Can click continue. So have you tried an app before? Some success. Yes, but it didn't work. That's my first time. I've tried many apps. I prefer other methods. So this is just a standard, and then you can say start my journey. So perfect. It just opens the default app, which is nothing right now. So there's one thing I'm going to add. I'm going to say, this is really important because onboardings are supposed to only show once. And if you don't have like a test mode or something, then you have to uninstall and install the app multiple times. It just makes that easier for us, because then we have a Boolean that would make sure everything shows every single time. We need to go here and add these 2 steps, but they are kind of complex, so we should do it step by step. So the first one would be add a new step that says, can you commit progress? And then when they say yes, you ask for push notifications. So I'm going to say, okay, so it's done. And you can also go up and see whatever steps it added. And let's check it out if it works. So we can go back here, we can click on the stop button and click on run again. And hopefully it builds and it attaches. And yeah, we go through this onboarding again, which, yeah, I'm just gonna stick to defaults because I want to be able to. So now it says, can you commit to coming daily? You see, it had added some extra stuff. Yes, I'm committed. Yeah, and I say yes, I'm committed, and I click on commit. So now it asks me for push notifications permissions, and yeah, you can see this, and I can allow it, and now I can start my journal. Perfect. It worked like I expected it to. And see, just vibe coding. I haven't written any code, I haven't modified anything. It's just Claude. So now let's go to the next step. We go back to our list. So now it's done, and you can see again, I tried to build it after and it seems to work. So let's test it out. So we can go back here. So record a motivational message. Sure, let's do this. So now that we have that working, we need to move on to the next step. So this one, and this should be pretty straightforward for it to implement. Again, it's complete and it actually completed and made a build. So let's test it out again. So we can click play. Again, we go through this. Yes. Yeah. And this is the last question we answered. So I can see one problem though. It did move the notification. So I'm gonna tell it to fix that. Oh, and one thing, one reason why I went to a new chat is I could already see that this was like running out. I saw summarize, and that means we're actually running out of chat context, and it makes things a lot more difficult for it to understand you. So that's why I created a new chat. So I had to give it one more chat because the first time it didn't fix it, but now I had to say, yeah, the problem is still there and explained clearly. And now if we go back and we play it again, it works as expected. So this, and it says, can you commit? Yes, I commit. And now it does this, but I already gave permission, so it should go forward. And do you want to record a version message? Yes. And now you see this. This is to have all this done. We need to go to the paywall, which is an important part where you have to make money. So I'm gonna create a new chat, and here I'm gonna say, so now that this is done, it took some time, but it works, or it's done and it built. So let's test it out. So we can go here. So for now we get this, and this seems pretty straightforward. The only thing I think is wrong is just too much stuff. So it doesn't completely fit into the screen, and these buttons are actually not clickable. They're too far outside the click zone, and this is. So I have a couple of things that needs to be fixed. So I can write out down that. So let's actually test this out. So I'm gonna click on play, and let's see if it works. This works, and there's a close button. So there's two other things. First of all, let's try if this happens. Yep, this works as expected. I go back, And the only thing I would remove is this is really low, and the crown is actually hiding behind the safe zone. So what I would ask is I move the crown a bit down. Maybe I can remove this. So premium support should go away, and that should have enough space for everything else. And now it's done. Let's check it out again. So I can just click and play, and everything shows correctly. And you can close this, and everything works correctly. This is perfect. So we're done with this. What we're gonna do now is design the home screen. So I'm just gonna copy this, create a new, and let's see what it does. This is done, and let's check it out. First of all, I'm gonna make this false, so we don't actually have to see the onboarding every time. We're done with onboarding, including the payment screen. So let's do this and see what we see. Okay, we see this, and we can check in for today. Nice, nice animation, and it shows days 3. Imagine you've completed this, recent progress. This is even more than I asked for. It's pretty nice. Let's see if it remembers this. Let's stop it and play. Let's go back to see. Yes, it remembers this. Nice. So what we're gonna do next is let's look what we have here. I'm gonna skip this for now because I don't have links and I want us to complete this as soon as possible. But I'm gonna say now let's check if this was implemented correctly. So it had about 30. We can, yeah, we got a few of them. I think this is fine for now. And yeah, add a button to listen while you're making this change. And we can just start a new one. And so let's see how this goes. So this has completed, and I had to make some changes to the prompt. So I'm going to open this up again so you can see it. And it said it did it, but this is something important when you vibe code. A lot of times in the summary, it can also give you some things that you have to do, because right now it said I have to do this in Xcode, which is important, right? So what I need to do now is I need to go to Xcode, go to project settings, under the info tab, add a new key, microphone usage. Microphone usage description, and I can copy this and paste it. And I'm gonna go to the, I think it's called the onboarding coordinator, and I'm gonna make this true again, so I can see the onboarding view. And then I click play. And, allows recording, and then you can start recording. And you can stop it, and you can continue to premium, and this all works as expected. So what we have to do now is we can stop this, because we can actually make purchases in the simulator. I'm gonna make this false and play these again. And here I should be able to play. It seems to work. I can guarantee that it works. And this is a new message, so that's nice. And I think we're done with building this app actually. I really think we're done. We can go back to our list. And that's it. I think one thing I might want to change is if I make this true and I play this, so this happens correctly, but when you say yes, recorder, it goes here. It should go directly to the record audio. And then once that is done, so that's the only thing I need to change. So what I need to do is I can just go back to cursor, I can create a new, during onboarding, when asked, I'm not sure what the name of that, so I can stop this and do it again. And oh yeah, so record motivational message. It goes to, are you ready to change your life? So you say yes, it goes to, you want to change your life? Question. It should go to the audio screens next. Do you want to change your life? Should be last before premium screen. So let's see if it fixes this for us. So it's done and I can check it out. So I stop this and play. This works as usual. Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we already have this message. That's why it works this way, which is actually perfect. And then I can say yes and perfect. And we see this. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure this loads correctly. We gave it some IDs and we're going to make sure we have those IDs set up in the store so we can actually load them and see the correct prices of what we set up. For us to actually do that, we need to have these screens because the screenshot is actually required for us to have the app actually approved. But we can do it by taking a screenshot here in the emulator. It makes things really easy. So I can, and we also need screenshots for the entire app. So maybe what I'll do is I would start from beginning. So I'm going to stop this and start it again. So we have this screenshot. Let's start it. Another screenshot. Let's take this one, something selected. Another one. There's another screenshot. We can take as much as we want and we can decide if we're going to use it later or not. And we need a screenshot of this, and we need a screenshot of this, and we can now stop this. So now we have a new boolean for skipping the, so this is false, but now we can say true, and hopefully we skip the I'm gonna take this back, false. And I'm gonna stop this and play. Does this even still work? Doesn't seem like it stalls my progress anymore. Okay, so I have this screen, I can take a picture. And I can check in today, take a picture. And I don't have anything recorded, so that's why that doesn't show. So I think that's fine. But I also want to confirm that I do have, yeah, so I do skip. And of course I have a new one here. So this is perfect. This is perfect for us. So now what we're going to do next is set up our in-app purchasing. Now for us to do that, we can go to the paywalls models or something. We just have to look for it because I know we have this. Oh yeah, this is it. So remember we said we have this for weekly and lifetime. So these are the keys we need. So what we need to do now is set this up in the App Store. What we're going to do is go to subscriptions and we're going to create a new subscription and we're going to say quit anything now group. And we're going to create a new subscription. And let's see, the first one we selected was actually weekly. So we're going to do this. Create. And we're going to choose the duration, which is like 1 week. We're going to set up availability for all countries and the price. I think we should ask Grok. So let's go to Grok and we can go to quit anything now. And we can say, so we have this. This is definitely going to be 99 because Apple doesn't allow that to have 49, for example. So they both have to be 99. So let's go back and let's say for weekly, let's say 199. And next, confirm. And we need to add localization, which is weekly. We can copy this and paste it here. And then we need to add a screenshot, which I already took. So I'm going to this one, I think. Yep, that's it. And on boot, just saying where it happens. So I can save this. It still says missing metadata. I think I filled everything out correctly. I can go back. If you filled it correctly, it should say ready for submission. But I don't think it's related to this. It's probably related to the group. So I can go back and actually fix that. So for the group, I also need to create a localization. So quit everything now group. And I was right. It says ready for submission now. So everything should work as expected. And you can basically repeat it. The last thing we have to do is come to in-app purchasing and we create another. And this should be a non-consumable and it should be a lifetime. And we can create that. And mostly the same thing. And the recommended price was $79.99. I'm gonna reduce it. Let's say this. Lifetime. I could try to figure it out, or I could use exactly the same thing, which shouldn't really matter. And we can save this. And it should be ready for submission also. This is perfect. So now if we go back to the app, if we did everything correctly, we should see real prices there. And let's delete it. Actually, we have a control for this. So we can make this false. And try it again. No. I'm gonna stop it and uninstall the app. Sometimes you have to do a lot of stuff to make it work. So let's see if it goes the correct way this time. And if it works correctly, I know why it doesn't work. This is important, and it's something I actually forgot. So when we created our app, we actually set up the SKU, and I don't think that currently matches what we have. So I need to go back here, stop. You can tell cursor to do this if you don't understand how it works. I do understand how it works, so I can easily fix this. So I can come here and make the change. It's usually when you click on the target and go to general and then bundle identifier. I think that was the problem. So let's go. And perfect, we see it. We see the yearly, monthly. Yearly doesn't quite load, and we're going to check that out, but we can go here. And lifetime doesn't load also. We just need to confirm if those IDs actually match. So I couldn't figure out why it didn't work, so I'm just going to tell cursor to fix it. So I can basically make a new chat. So it seems to work now. The yearly shows up based on the last fix, but I'm gonna prompt it that the lifetime doesn't actually work. So another error of vibe coding. You can see it tried to fix it when I gave this command, and it broke the build. And I told it it doesn't build, and it couldn't figure it out, and it basically gave up. And this is something that actually happens a lot. Most times when stuff like this happens, I would recommend switching the model to something else, and maybe that's what we should try. So what I would do is I would go back to this point where I know I have a working build. It's really important, and that's why I like cursor. And I would switch this to a different model. So maybe let's try 5, GPT-5, for example. So I finally figured out what was going on, and I basically fixed it with this prompt. So I said, I noticed going through it, again, if you're not a developer, this might be really difficult for you, but LLMs do this crazy thing sometimes where they try to optimize and mesh stuff together. So the code was basically trying to pull everything as a subscription, but the lifetime is not a subscription, it's a non-consumable, it's a different type of product that Apple offers. So I basically said, do not merge them, handle them separately. So they are two different things. So we have the subscription separate, and then we have the lifetime object separately. And using GPT-5, it actually fixed it. So now we have everything working like it's supposed to. The only thing I'm going to add now that actually makes these apps perform better is change continue to try now. Because each one of these, I'm going to implement a subscription, a trial for it, a 3-day trial, for example. So I'm going to change continue to try now. So I'm going to try it out, stop, play, and so this works. I close it, it works, and this does say try now. Perfect. I think we have the app ready. And the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to go new, and I'm going to go back to Claude. Now this is important because when your app is reviewed, a lot of the times it's reviewed on an iPad, and if it doesn't display well, it doesn't matter if you don't want to release it on iPad, it always causes issues. So you have to make sure you do this as your very last prompt before you submit things. So this is done, and I'm going to give it a try. So now I'm going to select an iPad from the simulator and try to run it on an iPad so I can see if it looks good on an iPad. Now we have this here, and we can still click this. And the plan still works, and this still works. I think this is good, but I'm gonna go back and skip the paywall to see if the main screen actually works as expected. Yeah, this works. I can check in, and this works. Perfect. One thing I forgot to do that we can also do right now is take screenshots. So I'm gonna force this and play again. So we can take this screenshot and take this screenshot and this screenshot. Ideally, you really only need 3 for approval. So I think that's more than enough actually. Since we have this working, what we can do now is actually submit this. So I'm gonna make this false. So this works, false. I'm gonna make that false. And what I'm gonna do is, we need some designs actually, because we need a logo, we need an icon. And I'm gonna, a new chat, make an icon for, this is a demo, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, but let's see what Grok comes up with. This is not actually too bad. I'm gonna download this, and I'm gonna move this to the root folder. So I'm just gonna drag this. I'm gonna name this icon and drag it over here to the root folder. And I can just open a new tab and say, make the, so it says it's done and we just have to verify it. Now we can run this again and see if it still builds correctly. It does build and it does show up here, but I'm gonna go to the home and see if the icon actually loads, and it does. Policy link and temps in the purchase pages, please use this, because we already have a privacy policy, this, and I think we have one for temps. Come on. I think there is temps.html. Perfect. Perfect. So we can actually delete this. It's not needed or necessary. I can close this, and I can test in another simulator to make sure this works. Let's see. We can go with this. And we can try to click on this, and it works. It does work correctly. So now all we have to do is we can stop this, and now we can go product and archive. Now we can go distribute. While this uploads, we can also do something. We can fix our screenshots. Remember, we already have this. What we can do is we can go to file and create a new window. We can open project. We can call this resizer. Resizing screenshots. I don't know, maybe I can make this tool open source or something, but we can open this up, but it's pretty straightforward to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag all the screenshots I would like to use. So I'm going to make 2 folders. I'm going to make iPad and iPhone, and I'm going to try to find, and I can verify what and this is pretty straightforward. So my prompt is pretty simple. I want to have this screenshots, and we can, this has finished uploading, and we can actually verify what size we want. So we can come here and say the sizes that we need for iPhone. So ready for iPhone and iPad. So we can go to the iPad and copy that also. There. So it's done, and hopefully it works. We can go to the store now and find so for iPhone size, let's just drag it in, see if it works, and it doesn't work. So let's do this again. Specific folders for this. And let's see if this actually works right now. And it works correctly right now. And we can go to iPad. iPad resize this. And I did this. Perfect. So we have this now. So I actually lost some footage and I already did this, but I'm gonna record it again. So it already uploaded. I had to refresh and I got that it completed uploading and processing. You know it's processed when you see this manage button in front of it. I actually had to upload another one so I could go through the process with you. So you click on manage, you click on none, and you click on save. Now it should be available to use, and you can go to distribution and you scroll down to add builds, and you can click on that and done. And I actually also missed that. For the very first time you upload a submitted build for review, you would also have to submit the in-app purchasing and subscription for review also. Now I had to withdraw that review because I missed recording it, but just know that you would see a big button here where you have to select all of your subscription products, because we added in-app purchasing and subscription, and you have to add that also. I'm really sorry I don't have that footage. If I can put a picture on screen, I'll put a picture on how it should look like. Now, the next thing you have to add is, I know I missed this before, so we have to add a copyright information. You need to save that. And we didn't set up pricing and availability. Now I already did this. Again, I lost that footage, but ideally when you see a big edit button here, and when you click that, you can select your price range and country base price, and that's all you have to do. And this sets the price. Again, for availability, there would be a big edit button here that you can click on, and when you do that, you could actually manage availability, and then you can decide where you want your app to be available. I'm going to click on now, and you can click confirm, and this makes it available in all countries. I think that's it. And once you have that set, you can go back to prepare for submission and click on add for review. And if everything was set correctly, we should be able to click on submit for review. And that's it. It's submitted. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, because I'm going to be sending, I'm going to be adding more tips and tricks to vibe code an actual app and get it published in the store. I think the next video I will do is how you can actually promote your app, because you've built your app right now, and what's the next step for you. So please like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who you think might enjoy it or have use for it. And then thank you very much. Bye.